And just by the look, I think all present who are to be present are here with some excellent guest additions. Thank you. And first off, we want to give a hearty welcome, official, to Bernice Tynan for being our newest approved member of the Transit Advisory Board. And we're going to scoot over the approval of the minutes and do that later in the meeting, just because we have some guests tonight that are offering some public comment. And so we want to invite the folks from Guide Dogs for the Blind to talk to us. You're on.
You're on. Right. I first just want to thank you all for having us here tonight. I introduced myself as I'm Susan Armstrong, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of the scope of Guide Dogs for the Blind, and then Jake is going to talk about why we are very interested in bringing public transportation to our campus here in Boring. So Guide Dogs for the Blind is a nonprofit organization. We have about 2,200 clients throughout the United States and Canada that we serve, that we provide highly trained guide dogs to. We have 2 campuses. In 1942, we started down in San Rafael, California, which is just north of San Francisco. And in 1994, we built our campus here in Oregon. And as Chris said, I invite you all to come visit if you haven't already. The little blue signs along 26 don't do it justice as far as how big it actually is. So our campus here in Boring, we train about 150 clients per year out of that campus. It's a 14-acre campus, and we have about 100 dogs at any given time. So clients from all over the United States and Canada come there to be trained. We have a large volunteer force. We have about 200 volunteers that come to our campus and do everything from dog walking to dog bathing to giving tours. And Chris mentioned our graduations. We have a graduation every other week, which is about 50 to 100 people come to the campus. So you might not know when you drive by on 26 because it's behind some trees, but it's a fairly large operation there. And I think we really become part of this community, I think. And we have, just to let you know, we have a center down in Gresham. You might not know, it's at the corner of 4th and Roberts. And we don't have signs on it saying Guide Dogs, but it's a brick building, and we've had that there since 1994 too. So we really are part of the Gresham community as well. We have about 80 staff members that come to work at Guide Dogs every day to take care of all those dogs and train those clients. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a scope of the breadth of the organization, to give you an idea of why we think public transportation is so important to come to our campus. And I just wanted to, I'm going to turn it over to Jake so he can talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you. Thanks, Susan.
Thanks for having us. Again, my name is Jake Cook, Community Outreach Specialist, Guide Dogs for the Blind. Here with my guide, Forley, and just to kind of start, if you could give a quick personal touch to this. Public transit is a huge part of my life. In fact, riding the SAM is something that I have taken advantage of and do take advantage of. So why? We talked about bringing public transit to our campus. Why is this important? Why should you guys even be considering this? We've thought long and hard about this, and so some of the things that I want to talk about are our staff. As Susan mentioned, we have 80 employees that come to work every day on our campus. I am one of those individuals. So of course there's all of the Oregon initiatives to reduce the amount of traffic on the roads. So having a bus would help with that, or some kind of transit service. Of course, Guide Dogs for the Blind, our client base are people who are blind and visually impaired, and I hope that they are not driving on the road. So, having a way for us to provide services and them to access those services at our Oregon campus. Excuse me. We've gotten pretty creative in finding other alternative means, but it is tricky. Having volunteers come to our campus. Many of our clients, or graduates as we call them, may want to come and volunteer. I sit with the class at least once during their 2-week training at a meal, usually lunch, and visit with them. And I'm always fielding questions on how do I get a job at Guide Dogs for the Blind? How do I volunteer? And when I start telling them, they go, well, how do I get here? Right? So that's a really important thing that, you know, and it's hard to answer that question. So talking about that, how can we serve our clients more broadly? We provide veterinary financial assistance to those folks who may need it for their guide dogs. One form of that is providing it through our fully functioning vet clinic at our Oregon campus. So not only do we train dogs, we have a whole healthcare system for our dogs. If we have a bus, our clients could get free vet care for their dogs. Those that we can't serve locally, we do provide a reimbursement service for. But again, another avenue, another touch point. During the 2-week training program that I and about 150 other clients go through a year with their guide dogs, we learn how to use public transit. Currently, the system is going into Gresham or out here to Sandy, finding a bus or Max, some light rail to practice with. If we had a bus that came to campus, we can incorporate that into our training program, potentially. Many people who come to our graduations come out of town. So they may not be driving, they could be visually impaired, and they want to attend. So, you know, Uber makes a lot of money coming to our campus, so does Radio Cab. Maybe you guys would like to have some of that. So that, you know, there's another sort of angle, if you will. And about 50 to 100 people attend our graduations on average every other Saturday. So I know Saturday service, sometimes the bus can be completely empty, sometimes they're packed, but you know, that would be another way to you know, generate interest for the line on a Saturday. And then just general accessibility. You know, we really do believe in an inclusive environment for all. And we're always looking to be more inclusive, especially looking at our client base. How do we make things more accessible? And that doesn't just start or stop at our website. We look at our physical layouts as well. You might be interested in my commute. How do I get to work every day? It's tricky. I have a small group of dedicated carpoolers, as I call them, employees, coworkers who I can carpool with, but carpooling is difficult, right? My schedule doesn't always align with their work schedule. For example, this meeting tonight, you know, finding a ride to and from campus can be difficult when, you know, my schedule, my workday ends at 6:30 p.m. and others ends at 4 p.m. How do you accommodate yourself for that? But as an employee, I'm still expected to do my job. Oftentimes what I'll do is get a ride from Boring, at our campus, to Sandy, and then from there catch the bus, the SAM, into Gresham, where my home is located. So kind of going east to go west. It takes me about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes door to door just to do that, if I can't carpool directly to Gresham. So this is just me, this is my little anecdote, but just to kind of give you an idea of, you know, but I love my job, so I don't want to not do it. 70% of people who are blind or visually impaired are considered unemployed. We would like to be able to offer more services to them, more opportunity, and having a bus would allow us to also do that. So not only training people, training dogs, but also helping people who are blind or visually impaired achieve economic mobility. So that's a little bit about why we're interested in this and the motivation behind it. Personally, I'm super passionate about accessibility and want to try to make this happen. So yeah, that's kind of what I have to say. Any questions?
I just want to add a couple things as far as, and you guys might know more about this, but we weren't involved in those discussions, but we've had discussions about bringing public transit to the campus before, and so I'm not sure if you were involved in those conversations, and ultimately we couldn't work out some of the details, but I think that was many years ago, and we would really like to look at it again to see if we can make a change there. We have people also that come from the 10 western states and they fly in, and so we would, you know, right now they can get from the airport on public transport to Gresham, but that's as far as they can get. And so we would really like to give them the option of being able to come, because they're puppy raisers that have raised their puppy and are coming to meet their person that is getting the dog that they raised. And so really trying to promote that too is important to us.
And I want to just give a quick shout out to Andy. Her and I have been communicating back and forth. So thanks for that. I really appreciate you, to email and inviting us to here tonight. It's been great talking to you. Glad to meet you in person.
Of course,
Everybody
thank
else.
you.
Thank you so much for coming.
I have
Karen?
one question, and that if we were able to work out something, I don't know that we can, but if we could, how many trips a day are you needing to have to come in and out of there? Because this would be a deviation for us.
Yeah. You want that?
Well, I think it would depend. I think we might not know the answer because it hasn't been an option for so long that we're not sure as far as what employees would take advantage of that, and as far as how many times they would be coming, and what that would look like when we maybe first do it, what it might look like in 5 years once we get to the place where everyone realizes it's there. Maybe you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good. Certainly during commuter hours, I would say would be good. I mean, even if it ran once an hour, so maybe not. I know the SAM runs every half hour. That would be better than nothing at this point. I don't want to give you like hard and fast like timelines, like we only want a commuter line or we only want it once an hour, but just to kind of throw some options out there. You're right, it would be a deviation, and we are aware of that as well.
Yeah, our volunteers come out at different times. Staff starts around 7:30 or 8, and then volunteers can come throughout the day, and then usually around 4 is when staff leave for the day.
Between 7 and 4 is when you have the heaviest demand then?
That would be true, yes.
Yeah.
And we have dogs there, so we have people that work throughout the weekend, so there's always someone there.
Maybe 7 to 5 might be.
Probably,
Which is
yeah.
also our heaviest demand.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
So, but it'd be nice if something could be worked out.
Yeah.
We appreciate the support.
So just to let you know, I mean, we are discussing it internally. We actually have been for a while now. As far as ways that we could, not every time, but alternate or throw in sometimes that we run through Boring, because you don't have public transit in Boring any longer, so there is no lifeline there. And since that happened, Sam has had internal discussions. There are things that we have to keep in mind that I won't go into that make it more difficult than, hey, we should do that, because we are the city of Sandy, and that's not necessarily our jurisdiction, and then there are federal regulations and guidelines that we have to be mindful of. But it is in our discussion. We also have a master plan that is starting in January, and I have put it to our consultants that is part of what we want them to look at during the planning process, is the feasibility of doing that.
Do you find that the accommodation of the bus works well as far as getting the dogs on and off?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you find that the accommodations on the bus works well for getting the dogs on and off?
Probably for you, Jake.
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Your fixed route bus that runs between Sandy and Gresham is a good vehicle. There's plenty of space, especially under the ADA compliant seating, for the dogs to kind of tuck in and stay out of the way.
Oh,
Your
good.
drivers do an excellent job of announcing the stops, which is super important. So yeah, I'd say, the bus itself, the vehicle, is great for the dogs, especially the low floors. They're always great buses for that.
Mhm.
One of the things that I know in the conversations before, and again, I don't know all the details of where buses can fit and what things you need to take into consideration, but one was there was no room for a bus to come in and turn around and come out, and we are planning another entrance to the campus for the reason, we have a lot of large vehicles going in and out with our training vans. They hold about 12 dogs, and so we're going to be putting in another entrance so that the bus wouldn't have to turn around. They would just have to come in and come out.
That's good.
And really, any place that we can be in the conversation and talk about what the possibilities are and possibly what we could do to help the process, we would really love to be in.
Great, thank you. Yes, Teresa.
Well, the other thing that I bring up too is right now Clackamas County is in the process of working with a consultant to start a countywide transit development plan. And one of the key elements of that is we're actually going to be looking at connections between existing transit programs. So areas in Clackamas County that aren't part of a transit district or already part of a transit network, and how we can improve the connections between communities and be able to potentially bring in services to areas that need transit. So as we move off on that process, embark on that process on the county-wide level, I will definitely make sure that this is one of the considerations that's brought in. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Any meetings or outside of this one that would be helpful for us to go just for our own education? You know, we really would love to know those things too.
Well, enjoy our meetings.
You can do a lot of
I mean, you know,
emails.
we meet quarterly.
Okay.
So it's not like you have to come every month.
Okay.
But certainly that's one way to get familiar with, you know, our funding and, you know, how we have to jump through certain hoops and navigate and do that, and the considerations and constraints and all that. So, yeah, you're certainly welcome to join us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, For League. Now they're leaving.
Oh, yeah.
Happy holidays.
You
too.
as
Thank you
well.
so much.
Thank you, all the way from California.
Snuzzle
Thank
those border
you.
collies for me.
I will.
They're amazing.
So,
Oh, did you,
Cards I can leave for you guys if you'd
oh,
like.
great, Jake.
Oh,
That would be
Yeah,
wonderful.
that'd be terrific.
Yes, I will
Andy's
come
gonna
and take
come in.
those.
Okay, just feel free to pass those out.
Yes,
here.
thank
Yeah.
you so
It's
much.
a great way to connect, the phone works too.
Love it. I'm gonna leave it with my cards too.
Yeah.
If you flip them open, it's the little
Yeah,
the dog
handy,
ear.
handy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was very informative. I don't think we were aware of the problem.
Appreciate that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Thank
You
you.
too. Take good care.
Thank you.
Okay, so Andy, we wanted to go to hop through.
Okay. Yes, please.
Okay, so under new business on 4.1, hop through Stephen Coiner.
So we're just getting him.
Do we
pulled
need
up
to
here.
dial in?
So
These are the same,
Carrie
aren't they?
believes that there are
Yeah,
speakers
these are the same.
Oh, here?
and all of that. So we should be able to interact. We can't hear from the computer troubleshoot. What does that say?
And do I need to click on this? Oh, he's talking.
Oh, let me call.
He can hear us, I imagine, and we just can't hear
I was
him.
gonna say, is there any kind of, I was wondering if
We're gonna
there's
give
any
you a
kind
call,
of-
Stephen.
Any kind of grants, or if this falls under the STFAC or any STIF funds, that you could do like a small bus like
I need
the
that number
Senior Center
again.
has, that would do just to that location and come back.
781-448-4977.
Oh, really? Somebody said they were
Oh,
saying-
Andy must have them.
What?
Do you have his cards? We only have
What's the
hers.
pin?
I sent them that
I'll
way.
leave hers,
Did they
Jake.
get?
Oh,
What's the pin?
okay, never mind.
Um,
They look identical. I couldn't tell the difference between the two.
37495.
37495.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's
Susan
fine. I
J.
don't think that they
I was
do.
gonna say,
Did you both?
yeah.
Did you? Okay, great.
This is something that can be.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, we
Yes.
can, thank you.
Great. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thanks for giving us some time to talk today.
Hi, Stephen.
Can everybody hear?
All right. I wish this would work.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and share my screen here, and it should pop up to give a message to view my screen. Do you all have a place where you'll be able to see
Yep.
the presentation?
Yep, we've got it.
Awesome. Let me know when you're seeing a hop-through slide.
Yes.
We got it.
Perfect. Awesome. So also on the call with me are Cole and Daniel from the Hop Through team. They'll be joining us as well. But yeah, just thanks again for having us tonight at your board meeting. It's great to be able to talk with you all.
Thank you.
I'm not sure how much context Andy gave for this part, but Hop Through is a mobile ticketing company for transit. We currently work with 15 agencies across the country, mostly on the West Coast here and a few in the Oregon area as well. And we actually met at the Oregon Transit Conference this year and have been going back and forth, and she thought it'd be great for me to have the opportunity to speak to you all about Hop Through and show a quick demo of our mobile ticketing rider app, so you all can get an idea for how that works.
Great. Your presentation at OTA was terrific, by the way. I was there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm glad to have more information from you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with that, I will just go ahead and jump into it here. So today, I really wanted to talk a bit about Hop Through, explain a bit about the company, kind of how we came to be, and give an overview of our product. And also talk a little bit about how we generally work with our partner agencies and what that rollout process looks like and the steps that are needed to launch Hop Through for your agency. And, you know, I like to keep these very conversational. If anybody has questions at any point in the presentation, feel free to jump in and just ask away. And that being said, this was kind of what I was hoping to talk through, but is there anything in particular or specific that folks were hoping to see from mobile ticketing?
I think just give us what you have from the top, Stephen.
That sounds great. Okay. Yeah, like I said, feel free to jump in at any time and cut me off if you have questions. So first, jumping into a bit about Hop Through. Like I mentioned, we're currently working with about 15 agencies across the country. We are based out of San Francisco here on the West Coast, so just down the way a little bit. And in particular, around the Oregon area, we're working with 2 agencies. We work with Columbia Area Transit over in the Hood River area, as well as Mount Adams Transportation just across the border in Washington. And kind of starting out, when we looked at the mobile ticketing space, when we started the company about a year and a half ago now, what we saw was what we dubbed this traditional model. There was a lot of companies that were making custom applications for each agency that they work with. And oftentimes these custom applications involved a lot of development time, and a big part was upfront costs. And what we saw was that for smaller, more rural agencies, as well as agencies who weren't fully convinced that mobile was for them, it was a big barrier to get into to start out and roll out mobile ticketing. And another kind of unintended consequence of these custom solutions is that they really start to fragment the market. This is a snapshot here of the transit agencies in the Bay Area. There's about 15 agencies in this very small region. And I'm sure you can imagine if each one of these systems had their own custom mobile ticketing app, that would be a lot of applications. And as a rider, it's something that can get to be pretty overwhelming. And from my conversations with Andy as well as other folks in the area, it's a similar situation in Oregon. You have a lot of transit systems, a lot of them that interconnect. And when you start to get a bunch of different apps, it can really create a confusing situation for riders. So what Hop Through has done is aggregate transit agencies on one application. So there's one Hop Through app that you can download from the Google Play Store or from the App Store, and from there you're able to access all of our partners and purchase passes from all of them with just one account. And with this more of a platform model, as we call it, there's a few advantages that come with that. The first of which is that there isn't really any technical barriers to entry to roll out with a new system. So if we wanted to add a transit agency, there's really no more development for us to do, and because of that, we don't charge any upfront cost to roll out the system. Additionally, since there's really only one code base that we're maintaining and building on, we're always improving that, and we're looking for feedback from riders and agencies to help make the system better. So we really don't see feature requests or feedback as a negative or a chance to upsell. It's really just an opportunity for us to continue to make the core product better over time, which is much easier just maintaining one app as opposed to many custom solutions. And the last one, as I mentioned previously, is it allows the opportunity to start to connect with some of your neighboring transit systems. I mentioned Columbia Area Transit and Mass up in the Northern Oregon area. we're starting to build out more of a regional system up there and hopefully start to connect with some more fair reciprocity over time so that folks can jump between systems pretty seamlessly.
Cool.
So our system is what we call visual validation, meaning that folks can just use the Hop-Through app on their phone to board. There's no additional hardware that's needed to put onto the buses or to install anywhere. Folks can just show their phone as they get on the bus. And I'll get into a demo a little bit later here to show how that visual pass actually works. But the main thing here is that the only required hardware is what's already in everybody's pockets, which is their smartphone. And so using the app, riders are able to purchase passes from any of our partner agencies. Those passes are then stored in what we call the pass wallet until they're ready to ride. And when they are, they can use them with the visual flash pass system that I mentioned. One thing that I do like to highlight with this system is that after a rider purchases a pass, they're actually downloaded to the device, meaning that they don't need any cell connection to use the pass and show it as they board. They can do so fully offline. And we found this to be a great feature for areas that may be more rural or for folks that may not have an unlimited data plan or they're in a dead zone, being able to always have that security that your pass will work. One other feature I wanted to highlight was we do handle all of the customer support for our partner agencies. So from the application itself, folks can tap on the support section, and we have a few help articles they can use to help self-serve if they want to answer a quick question. And they can also reach out directly to us and start a conversation, similar to Facebook Messenger or other chat applications. And we found this really allows us to stay in tune with our ridership and get great feedback to help continue to make the product better. So that's more of the rider side of things, and I'll get into a demo as I mentioned. But for agencies, we also provide an agency back office portal that can be accessed from the web. So a fully cloud-based system, no downloads needed, you just need to go to hopthrough.com. And from here, you're able to set up the ticket offerings that you sell in the Hop-Through app, view transactions as they come in, and also view ridership and boarding data. Even though the Hop-Through system is only an app and there's no hardware required, we are able to get where people are actually getting onto your bus using GTFS fixed route stop locations. So every time a rider boards, we're actually able to query their location and cross-reference it with fixed route stops to be able to say where folks are getting on. All this data is passed through in the back end, and it can be monitored and viewed over different time periods that you set as an admin. And in addition to just selling one-off tickets to individual riders, Hop-Through also has the ability to help distribute bulk passes for third-party programs. To give an example, right now we are working with an employer called In-Situ up near Portland in the Hood River area with CAT. And for them, they had 1,000 employees that wanted to get passes and ride using Columbia Area Transit System. So for us, we just needed a CSV file of the email address of each of those employees, and we're able to upload and digitally distribute all of those passes, making it much more seamless than a paper pass or a plastic pass that would need to be passed out in person.
Stephen, can I jump in here for just a second?
Certainly, yeah.
So we had a presenter just previous to you, and as they were talking about their students, this is exactly what was going through my mind, is that organizations such as this can purchase tickets through this system and then just have it, you know, for their students, whether they add it as tuition or make it part of their program, or you know, they provide it for their students.
Or benefits as a graduate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that would be particularly helpful for that population of that agency.
Mm-hmm. It would make it a lot easier, and they're not, trying to
No
find
ticketing,
a way to pay.
yeah.
And, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, another thing I would point out about this is we are working with a few colleges with this system as well. And something that's great for them is in the middle of each quarter, say that a student joins on in and they need to be added to the list, we can get an updated CSV file and just add in their email address, and they can be added into the program within a matter of 24 hours. So if folks ever need to be added or taken off, that's no problem at all for us to handle. Something we've also found with this is it allows schools and other third parties to be able to track the value of these programs. They can see, you know, we distributed 1,000 passes and 600 have actually activated and used their pass, and start to understand how that's actually being utilized across the ridership. So with that, I will go ahead and jump into a quick demo of the rider application. And as I'm getting that set up here, is there any questions from anyone so far?
Nope, it looks like we're all good for the moment.
I just downloaded your app.
Awesome. So you will be seeing this as well then, I guess. So once somebody's downloaded the Hop2 app and created an account, the first screen that they will see is what we call the pass wallet, which is what you're seeing right here. This is where all the passes are stored once they've been purchased, and obviously I don't have any right now. So to get started, I can tap on the 5 passes button. And the first time that a rider uses the application, it's going to display the list of all of the agencies that we work with, and this list is sorted by that rider's location. So seeing as I'm in San Francisco right now, it's showing some of the Bay Area agencies first, but if I was in Sandy, the first agency to pop up would be Sandy Transit if you were on the application. So for this demo, I'm going to go ahead and just use the San Francisco Bay Ferry, so I can tap on that. And this will load up all of the passes that the ferry is selling through the app. So with Hop2, we place all of the different rider types that agencies have into these tabs that you're seeing. So we have our adult rider tickets here. I can tap on youth tab to see the youth passes, and also senior disabled. So this is all fully customizable. This is just the way that the ferry wanted to set it up. But the same system can be applied to different agencies' tickets and rider types as need be. So let's say that I wanted to ride with a group. Maybe we have a few adults and one youth with us. I can add a few adult passes. So I'll add 2 of the Alameda Oakland passes. I can now see that checkout bar at the bottom letting me know the total price and how many items I have in the cart. And I can go over to youth and add 1 youth pass as well. So once I'm ready to check out, I can just tap on the checkout button, and that will pull up our cart. Here I can see the total of all the items I have added, and delete them if I wanted to. And also at the bottom left here, I'm able to see what payment method I'm using. So in this case, I've added in a credit card, so you're seeing the last 4 digits of that credit card. But with Hop2, we also allow riders to use almost any debit card or credit card brand, as well as Apple Pay and Google Pay. So if a rider has Apple Pay or Google Pay set up on their phone, we can automatically pull that in, and they don't even have to add in any information. Sorry, the screen went to sleep there. So once I'm ready to check out, I can just tap on Purchase. And once the transaction goes through, these passes will be added into my pass wallet. So now I can see I have my 3 passes here, the 2 adults and the youth pass. So in Hop2, passes don't expire until somebody's actually used them and started down the countdown timer. So these passes are valid and they can be stored for as long as I want. And once I've activated them, that starts the countdown timer for each pass. So as an agency, you're able to define how long you want your passes to be valid for. Oftentimes an agency will have single ride passes that are valid for 10 minutes once they're activated, but you could also set a monthly pass that's valid for 30 days. So it's really a flexible system that can basically replicate whatever you currently sell with paper passes or anything like that. So these could be used one at a time, but since we all want to ride together, I will tap on the Use Multiple button at the top right here. And now I can select the passes I want to use. So I'll select all 3. And I can tap on Use. And this will confirm that I want to activate these tickets and let me know when they expire. So in this case, the ferry has set their passes to expire after 1 hour. So if I say yes, this will fire up our visually validated passes. So here we see we have the 2 adult tickets on this screen. I could show this to the driver as I'm getting on. And we have a few security features that are built into the visual validation passes to ensure that riders don't try and fraud the system. The first of which is the blue pulsing animation that you're seeing behind the ferry logo. And just to confirm, can everyone see that blue pulsing animation? Great. The second security feature is at the top of the screen, we have a live clock that's counting up by the second. So as a driver, if I see the clock counting with the real time and I see the pulsing animation, that's a sign that it's not a screenshot. The final security feature we have in here is if I tap on the pass, it will change between a primary and a secondary color. This helps prevent against the video recording. So as a driver, I could just ask the rider to tap on the screen, and that will change the color, proving that it's indeed a valid ticket. So here, since we have two of the same adult passes, it's showing the number 2, so I can just show one screen for 2 riders. And to show the youth ticket, I can just swipe over and show the youth pass as well. So I can tap on this to change the color and swipe back to my adult ticket. And now if I'm to go back out to my pass wallet, I'll see that all these passes have been activated, and I can now see what time they expire. So that is how riders are able to purchase, activate, and show passes using Hopthrough. A few other features I did want to show quickly here is if I tap on this menu button on the bottom left, I can see some basic account information. A few features I did want to highlight is the history. So here riders are able to see all the purchases that they've made, so they can understand what day they were made on and what kind of pass they bought. And the other feature I want to show here is the support system I mentioned. So if I tap on support, this will launch our support portal with a few articles here. So as a rider, if maybe I want to understand how to purchase passes, I could tap on this how to purchase passes article. And we actually have a YouTube video embedded into the article here that you can watch to understand how to purchase passes. But maybe if this video didn't help solve my question, I could start up a conversation. Just tap on New Conversation and go ahead and send the team a message. I could say, hey, I have a question. And this would automatically be sent to everybody on the Hopthrough support team, and I can get an answer generally within about 15 to 20 minutes. So with that, that was really everything I wanted to show today with the rider application. Is there any questions at this time from anyone?
Is this multilingual?
Yes, we do support multiple languages. Right now we support English and Spanish. So if a rider has their phone set to Spanish, that would change the app. We could also add in more common languages if that would be something that would be useful. Is there any particular language that you would be hoping to see with Hopthrough?
Well, we have a lot of Hispanic people here, and some of them don't speak English.
Good question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for them, the Spanish version would be able to help with that.
Do you have a question, Roxy?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you provide the same type of app with all the same material for people with low or low vision? Like green and blue are not a color for somebody with low vision. It's very hard for them to see. So they would need to have a different color like yellow, or it would need to be in a different color, like your youth was in green, adult was in blue. Do you have a color set up for people with vision impairments?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with the ticket itself, that's something that as an agency you're able to customize. So you can pick the primary and secondary color as well as the logo that's in the center. That being said, the look of the ticket is really for the drivers, so they can identify a valid ticket versus not valid. So for riders, it wouldn't necessarily matter to them what color it is. It's mostly for the drivers. But it could be set up to be maybe black or white, or colors that are very contrasting so that the driver could see it easily.
Right, because on the app itself, when they're purchasing tickets and all the buttons that are different colored, somebody with low vision would have a hard time reading that. The background would need to be a different color compared to white.
And so that's customizable by the agency?
So the look of the ticket is customizable. Right now, the rest of the application is set the way it is, with mostly the white and the black text. We did that because it is a very high contrast ratio. That being said, some of the buttons are that dark green color. So that we've set because it is a pretty high ratio as well. But we are not able to change the colors in the rest of the app besides the tickets.
Gotcha. Okay. Great.
Great. And if more questions come up, we just have a few more slides I wanted to share here. Feel free to ask away.
Okay.
So in terms of how we generally work with our partner agencies, one thing that we do provide when rolling out is our rollout package. This includes a press release kit with some previous press releases and brand assets that can be used. It also includes a physical ad package. We pass off, to get started, some posters and stickers, as well as all the artwork if you'd like to print out more materials, as well as a digital ad package that can help with social media or other posts online. And the last piece here is a website integration materials. So generally the agencies we work with will have a section on their website about Hopthrough. We provide images and text for common questions that can be posted online. And to give a quick look at what some of this looks like, this is an agency that we work with in Michigan called Data. And for them, we sent them a few of these stickers. The one on the left is about the size of a standard sheet of paper. They put this on the side of their bus windows by the door, so when riders get on, they're able to see that Hopthrough is an option. And the smaller one on the right is something they stuck by the fare box, so folks that are paying with cash could see that mobile is an option as they pay. We also provided them some paper materials. On the left is a rack card that explains the process of how to download Hopthrough and get up and running with your first pass. And on the right is just a poster that they were able to place at some of their shelters and stops. But all this being said, we understand that no two agencies are exactly alike, and the way that you do advertise does differ for different regions and different systems. So we work hand in hand with each agency to make sure that the rollout package works for them. An example, as I mentioned, we just started working with the San Francisco Bay Ferry. For them, it made a lot more sense to do something like a sandwich board since they have a lot of folks in pretty dense areas. So I just say that to say we would work individually with you to understand what would work best for your riders. And looking at a timeline of how it generally works to roll out Hopthrough, the technical side of things can be done very quickly. So once an agreement has been reached, we can upload the fare information for an agency within about a day. Generally, what takes the bulk of the process is working hand in hand to create and distribute those marketing materials, as well as training your staff to be able to recognize the visual validation passes. For the training, we have some PDFs that list the security features of Hopthrough passes, as well as we will display all of the look of the tickets so that drivers can have that PDF and learn them before the system is rolled out. And then finally, we can just flip the switch and launch the system and set it live. So with that, just for a quick recap, from what we've seen, mobile ticketing can be a great improvement to the rider experience and a great complement to paper passes or other fare collection methods. The way that we offer our ticketing is with an as-a-service model that doesn't require any upfront costs, and we're able to set up and launch the system fairly quickly. So with that, thank you everyone, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
You mentioned reciprocity in the beginning. How does that work?
Yeah, so the way that that works with the visual validation system is since we're able to tell where riders are boarding the vehicles, we are able to distinguish one boarding with a certain system from a boarding with a different system. So we can tell when they get on what system they use based on that location.
And my other question is, there's no upfront costs. About what does it cost for the system running? There must be, you've got to have a way of making money.
Yeah. So for us, all of the money we make is on a per transaction basis. So each time that a ticket is sold in the app, that's the only time that we do charge. For us, those rates look like every ticket below $2, we charge 8% plus 10 cents. And for every ticket above $2, it's just a flat 10%. So that includes credit card fees as well as the cost of maintaining the platform. And there's no minimums or monthly fees or anything like that. It's just those percentages.
All right, thank you very much. Do you guys have any more questions? We are on a very tight timeline tonight, and I have something pressing I'd like to ask them. So, unless you guys have a burning question, I'm gonna let Stephen go, and we can talk about this. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, Stephen. It was a great presentation.
Yeah. Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity to get in front of you all and speak tonight. So.
Thank you so much. I know it was really short notice that I asked you to present this to them, so I really appreciate it.
No, it's no problem. thank you, Andy, and I'll follow up with you after this.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a great night.
All right. Talk to y'all later. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
So the reason I wanted you guys to see how this works is because this is the first system I've seen where there's not upfront cost. You know, you're not actually putting equipment onto the bus. And the Hood River is already using it. And that means that probably in the near future, I would guess, Columbia Gorge Express will be using it. And Multnomah County has been looking at ways to kind of bring that whole area, meaning Hood River and Columbia Gorge Express together. And so I know they are really wanting to get Columbia Express on this as soon as possible as well. So there's already regional partners that are using this system. So I wanted to get it in front of us.
Yeah.
However, I already see somebody coming in, and would you mind closing the doors just so they know we're in a meeting? For the 7 o'clock meeting, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna jump right into this agenda.
Yep.
We have been asked there, as you know, we have a new mayor and new city council members and a new city manager. So we will be having a retreat January 5th. Yeah, 5th. And they have asked each department to bring goals that the city council could adopt and you know, strive toward over the next biennium. At least 5 tangible goals. I have some obviously in front of me that I think are important, but I want your feedback. I want to know if I'm missing something, if there's something pertinent that you feel is appropriate as the transit board and so forth. So do you mind if I just start throwing stuff
Bring it out.
Okay. So first I have that we need to maintain Sandy Transit's vehicles in a state of good repair, and also strive to make all, and obviously I'm going to reword these, make all of our vehicles accessible for all, which to me means hopefully low floors and ramps and no interior steps, bike racks. I see nods. Okay.
Yes.
So we will make sure that our vehicles are a goal. Also, a very tangible goal is to plan for present and future transit needs, i.e. updated master plan, which begins in January. So very tangible, but if we have it listed as a goal, then we will definitely get the city council participation and support that we hope for. So I would want to list that as a goal. Let's see. I have a bunch in technology, and maybe I'll roll them all in because I want to update transit tax collection technology. Our software's out of date. We need to look at a new system. We're currently using an access program that was created in 2009 and is starting to not, I mean, it's literally not working properly sometimes. And I have money, new stiff money set aside for that. So again, it's tangible. It'll be somewhat expensive and time consuming to pick the right one and then transfer all of that information. But I also have to promote connectivity and Sandy's role in regional transit coordination. I'll probably flesh that out to say that we pulse appropriately with our neighbors and plug those connectivity holes that the county may find in that study. I have as a goal also to participate and play an integral role in regional and county transit planning. Let's see. Develop driver training and brake facility, which we already have and are setting funds aside for currently, so again, very tangible goal. I would also like to stretch that out a little bit and plan for the future of Sandy Operations Center by identifying plans and timelines for our maintenance and fuel facility.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's in the Operations Center plan already, so we should tackle it and have it set as a goal and try to find timelines for it. Continue forward process of securing technological advances for transit. So that's fares, that's the tablets that we've just put on the buses. I'd like to take that a step further at some point and have automatic passenger counts when passengers get on and off, so it's not the driver that's keeping the counts.
So a system that actually works.
You threw me. Sorry. Oh, and I also want to include in that to see if there are any technologies that we can incorporate, such as reaching out to ODOT to make sure that the signals align with our routes and getting our buses through. Anything that we can do in infrastructure in general on our routes. So I think that's most of the things that I've written down as things that I see in our future. A lot of these might not be in a biennium, but I can break them down so that, you know, for the most part they are. Oh, you know what? And then I started, they also want to know how we can participate or have goals at the county level and at the state level. The county level right now is fairly obvious. We need to participate in C4. The county is putting together a plan to look at connectivity throughout the county. We will participate in that and have a voice. We're already participating in a vision around the mountain for regional connectivity in this county and the next. And at the state level, we need to keep our presence at OTA. We need to continue to advocate for Transit Day. We need to continue to attend conferences, the annual conference. Am I missing anything?
So two things, maybe you already said this, but in the technology portion, would that be also including something like a hop through so that we can
Yes.
get away from, okay. good,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And secondly, referencing bus shelters and lighting, like 362nd. I know
Mhm.
that's really dicey because of ODOT and it's federal
Right,
and, you know,
right.
all that. But, yes, but having those.
Thank you. I might expand that state of good repair. I might make the vehicles maybe also include facilities
Yep.
and amenities.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
That's a good point. And again, with technology, I just talked to Ben this morning because the light's not working great at 362nd when you push it. It's very old. A lot of people don't even know that that post even has a light that you can push. So we are looking at, and it is in my STIF plan to get some new, our solar panels aren't quite working so great in a couple of shelters too. The lights
Well,
are
and
pretty
the
dim.
technology's improved so
Yeah,
much since
so
we put
much.
those in
Yeah.
that we're talking world of difference.
Okay, yes, thank you. I should definitely include amenities and not just the vehicles and the op center.
With connectivity, I know it was mentioned earlier, maybe loop in the information about the guide dogs for the blind, their location, into kind of the county plan. But is it a way that we could loop it into this plan as well? So that way we're hitting it from both sides, the city of Sandy plus the county?
I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of things that would have to be worked out in that, but I think it's doable.
According to Joyce, it is definitely feasible that we do it. They have thought of possibly, you know, every other hour we
Yeah.
run through Boring. we need to check a couple of things to make sure, you know, are we still a commuter route? There's,
Well, and also some other options too, besides having it be Sam deviating, you know, maybe looking at
Right.
at some other options.
yeah, I mean, it could be
What
a
else is
shuttle
possible?
that gets
Yeah.
plugged in.
Exactly.
It could be a van pool that gets created for that facility. I mean, there are a lot of options, but the obvious, easiest, quickest for us is to deviate through there, if that's a
Yes.
possibility and we could do it. That's the fastest, I
Yeah,
mean, we
it's
could
not that
implement it
far off
fairly
the
easily. And the timing, it's not gonna take us off schedule, the timing's gonna be about the same.
Yeah.
Right, if they get a pull through
Right,
parking
where the
area
access is good.
especially.
Right.
But I'm wondering on this hop through, how somebody who's blind would be able to access that system. They wouldn't.
I don't know, I mean, they may have
Those are
technology
just
on their
waiting for
phones that
those.
I don't have
That's a good
awareness
question for
of.
Jake.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah,
the
there's-
vast majority, there are several different platforms that can be used for folks who have visual impairment, that will read from different kinds of documents.
So it might be
format
able to be
types.
workable for them too.
Sure.
Yeah, no, there's a variety of formats, I don't have any reason to think that would be really.
Yeah, I would agree, yeah.
And it's kind of a stretch too, but when you were talking about making the vehicles all accessible, is there a way maybe, because to me, this would be something we could look at, because we're transit, but the crosswalks, turning them into automatic signals so that you don't have to push buttons, because then that way it is accessible for everyone. You don't have to push buttons, you just walk up to it and it changes like it would in, say, downtown Portland or something.
So we could include some sort of verbiage that says that we will strive as a city to make all transit amenities and infrastructure as accessible
And safe
as possible. Because a lot of those things do end up getting pulled into transit plans, because if you can't get to that bus stop, you're
Right.
not gonna use the bus.
Right.
Right.
So it's absolutely feasible to kind of spread that out and make things more accessible and more safe. Yeah, thank
Yep.
you. That's good wording. So I'll add that in there.
I like those lights that they have in Portland, that the yellow light comes on and says somebody's in the crosswalk.
Mhm.
Those are great.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I think you've got a good comprehensive list there, Andy,
Okay.
of what to take to retrieve.
I'm trying not to be too broad and make them something we can really grab and
Ask for what we
you know,
want.
check off,
Mhm.
rather than saying, well, anyway, because I could go really broad and say all the things that transit needs to do. But for now, I think this would be a good start.
If you did go to something like this hop through though, not everybody would be using that, obviously.
Right, right, obviously.
I have trouble making a telephone call on my telephone.
Right. It would be a first step in the right direction, and Teresa and I are gonna meet, next week, about a couple of things that we might have in the works for planning how we could transfer into some of these technological advances.
I like the technological advances. The thing I don't like is the opportunity to customize them for people with disabilities, of all disabilities. Because when they showed on there the video, the YouTube video, the next thing that came to mind is, what is that going to do for somebody who's deaf? Can't hear that video. Do you have an ASL interpreter video on the side? Do you have, you know, scrolling across the bottom so they can read what's going on?
You know, again, I'm gonna say, I think that they have
They do have
software that accommodates them. I know when I've done, tours for the blind, done the travel training, they all have different.
Okay.
I'm
Awesome.
sorry, but there's a
We gotta
meeting
get
at
out of
7,
Yep.
so, I don't wanna take their space.
I'll sign the rest of these
Oh.
cards.